Welcome to the 33rd Jackie's Proof Animals Have Souls and Psychic show, produced by Passionate World Talk Radio, a subsidiary of Global Media Network. For new listeners, my website is jackiejoneshunt.com. Jack is spelt with the IE. Jackie Jones, Jones, Hunt, HUNT.com. I'm a historian of spirituality, a lecturer, and a decades-long vegetarian for compassionate reasons, and psychical researcher who's had many personal mediumistic and psychic experiences. I also read the tarot, the angel cards, and the angel dice. And my books include Moses and Jesus the Shamans, Mediums, and my Proof Animals Have Souls series. The first being Proof Animals Have Souls, and the second in that series is 500 plus celebrities go vegetarian. Today, my guest is Rachel Neate, and Rachel is the president of the Oldham Spiritualist Church, and she's a working evidential medium. Now, interestingly, Rachel was, and still is, a singer, an excellent singer. And in the past, she worked more as a singer until her mediumship really flowered. And what she's finding is spirits are often coming through with clips and sections of songs. And my husband and I have listened to them, and she sent me clips from services that she's done, which she calls her singing services. And we found them so powerful. And we had to wipe tears from our eyes with the songs that she was coming up with. And it is really soul-to-soul nights and soul connections. And what a powerful way for Spirit to use Rachel's gifts and abilities as a medium and as a singer than to get these powerful messages across. Now, importantly, Rachel guides people on how to develop their mediumship, that they aren't insane and they're not necessarily schizophrenic, and that they are sensing, hearing, or getting glimpses of spirit, or having thoughts popped into their head out the blue. And in the comfort of your own home or in a chosen spiritual group environment, a person can develop that mediumship through meditations. So I'm going to speak to Rachel and ask her in the next shows, because it will possibly take up more than one show, to ask Rachel if she could give people some guidance on their spiritual journey. So hi, Rachel, you're very welcome to the show.
Hi, Jackie, nice to be back on the show.
Would you like to say that, the first steps that you teach when you are guiding people to develop their own mediumistic abilities?
Yeah, of course. Now, it's really important. One of the main things that I would try and guide people with is protection. And the protection is to protect yourself with a prayer. And that's so you can invite that beautiful divine white light into your life and into your journey where you're beginning to start working with the spirit world. And it's important for this protection by opening up with a prayer. And it can be prayer to begin with, where you're asking for the Father to come around with his divine white light and protect you while you're about to take on board working with the spirit world, and to ask for your spirit guides to draw close so that they can help you and guide you during your meditation or the work that you might be doing with spirit. So the protection is very important. And the way I would say to people to protect themselves is just to imagine a ball of white light above the top of your crown chakra. And imagine this ball of white light is flooding all down crown chakra and down the backs of your neck, down the back of your arms, and all around your body, and just flooding your body with white light and protection. And that will then give you that solid protection around your chakras, so that when you are working with spirit's energy, it is through God's white light.
And the crown chakra being at the top of the head, or would you say that's the third eye? Are you talking about the top of the head?
Yeah, the top of the head is the crown chakra. That's where you would download information from the spirit world and from the divine realms. So this is important to keep everything from the top right the way through, all your chakras, fully protected with God's white light.
And how do you help people to connect with their guides? Does this take quite a considerable time?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people get a bit concerned about that and often ask questions that why they don't see the guides and who are their guides. And it is quite a big subject, but my advice to people is take your time. There's no rush, because our guides are assigned to us before we come to the earth plane. So our guides are always with us. But it does take time when you're on your spiritual journey to connect with them, and actually sometimes to even see them. If you're clairvoyant, you can see your guides or even feel them, but you can ask questions and they will bring you answers. So if you feel that you're confident enough to ask for your guide's name, one of the things that I have done in the past for myself is I asked my guides to bring me a name of the guide I was currently working with, and what they did was they brought, over the space of 24 hours, they showed me something 3 times that was very similar. So throughout that 24-hour period, I kept seeing a white flower in different forms. So I'd see it either on my phone, or I was driving past a florist and it was called White Flower. I pulled up at a church that I was about to go and do a service in, and there was a white flower on the floor. And throughout that full 24 hours, I've seen that quite often. And instantly, I knew then that one of my spirit guides was called White Flower. So there's a way to do it, and there's lots of guidance that can be brought around that. But one of the things I would say is be very patient and trust what they bring you.
That's interesting. Today I saw a car and the number plate was JAC, and that is the name of my little dog, my first Jack Russell, Jack. My name being Jackie, she was a little girl called Jack, but because she was a girl, I didn't do the JACK. I wanted to differentiate it a bit, so she was JAC. And when we lived in Glasgow, there were lorries that used to be gritting lorries. They'd go out after snow or ice and cold weather, and the council, Strathclyde Regional Council's lorries that used to go out all had JAC on their front by the number plate. So I don't know what that was about. So I think it was telling me that Jack from Glasgow is still round and about.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm just again today when I went to the post office before, there was a car with JAC. One question I'd like to ask you: do you think guides attach to you because they've been family and friends and contacts in previous incarnations, or do you think they simply attach to you because of your potential? And say if you're a singer, you might draw in a singer, or if you love animals, so you might draw in a guide who loves animals. So do you think there's both things going on when we draw in guides to us?
Yeah, I think from my experience so far, I understand it as when we're in the spirit world before we come here for the journey, we are assigned our spirit guides. And we know what we're going to experience when we come to the earth plane. So we will be assigned the correct guides to help us with that journey. So, for example, myself, I have come here to obviously be a singer at one point in my life, and then to obviously work with spirit and be a medium. So the guides that was assigned to me helped me with them strengths. And certain guides will have strength and qualities when either they were on the earth plane, or if not, if they are just spiritual beings, that they have a certain strength that will be able to help you adapt your life to become the best you can be with what you are doing here on the earth plane. So yes. I do feel there's a mixture. I feel there is definitely a mixture, yeah.
Yes, that we draw to as sort of like attracts like in many respects as well.
Yeah, 100%, yes.
So, do you feel people are being taught by spirit, whether they know it or not?
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Some people that have never probably been in a church, a spiritualist church, or been to any groups, they can be walking down the street, and a lot of people will be able to relate to this. As you walk down the street, sometimes you can hear your name being called, and you'll turn around and nobody will be there. And that is that little tiny crucial point where you have literally tuned into the spirit world, because it's all about frequency. So when we tune in, we hear things, or we might see things, or we might be aware of things with our inner knowing, or however it is that we are working with them. So that is just an example. But yes, we are here to experience this journey, and the spirit world do step forward and they do help us, regardless of us working with spirit or not.
And do you teach people or guide people to open and close their chakras?
Yeah, that's one of the main things that we would show people how to do when they come to meditation evenings at my church. One of the things that we show them is how to open up, so that then the chakras are spinning, so they're getting the best out of their experience when they're there. But then the way to do that is, as I explained at the beginning, is the opening prayer is very important for the protection. But then also, what also is important is then to open the chakras. So you would imagine each individual chakra opening up like a flower. So the crown chakra, the third eye, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, and so on. All the different chakras, you have to imagine each one of them from the top to the bottom opening up like a flower. And then you know then that you're ready to work. And again, when you're closing down, you would then imagine them closing individually each chakra. And then
I'm glad you said
with that white light.
I'm glad you mentioned opening each chakra like a flower opening up, and then at the end you would close each chakra down like a flower closing up, because that makes sense to me. I have sat in meditation groups for decades, and so many mediums will say, oh, and spin it clockwise and spin it anti-clockwise. And because they're facing you, you don't know which way is clockwise or anti-clockwise. It's like if I'm turning right, then it's my right hand's pointing right. But if I have my back to that direction, then right is the other way. And then one person, I said to her, I span it that round. She said, oh, you closed yourself down at the beginning then. So I think the opening up of the flower suits me much better than the spin it this way and spin it that way.
Easier to understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you about that. And you also mentioned before the show about respecting our guides and respecting the spirit world and how they work with us.
Yeah, that's something I always touch on with people when they want to work with spirit and the spirit world. I say it's very important to have a respect for them and your spirit guides and angels, because some people may want to use alcohol when they're working with spirit, and I would say that's the wrong thing to do. Spirit and spirit don't mix together, and that's my philosophy on that. But you've got to be of a sober mind when you're working with the spirit world, and that's showing that respect, and you get a lot more, and it stays with you that way. I know of people that haven't done it that way, and it doesn't always work very well, the two together. So I feel it's having a great respect. And the other thing I always say to people is always express your gratitude to your guides, your inspirers, the angels, and God. And always express your gratitude to the spirits that you work with each time you work with them. So you always say thank you for the energies that have stepped forward to work with me. And even if it's family members, you thank them, and you always show that gratitude.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm afraid we're getting towards the end of the show, but this is to be continued in the next show. Because some people, they think they've become schizophrenic. A friend of mine, Eamon Downey, he was a brilliant jockey, and coming away from races, he started to hear voices very clearly in his head. And his sister said, no, you're not going mental. You don't need tablets. Let me take you to a spiritualist church. Anyway, Eamon, he does mediumship all around Europe and Britain and America now. And he stopped being a jockey and went with the mediumship. So, and he writes books. So it just shows you we all have experiences, And sometimes it's a thought in your head, and sometimes you think, was that thought me, or was that thought from somebody else? And sometimes it's a warning thought, and sometimes you can put it down to intuition. You get a feeling that this person's not going to be good for me, or this job's not going to be good for me, or this is the wrong direction for me. And we seem to have lost touch with our intuition that we probably used so much more in our shamanic times, in earlier civilization, when we weren't so materialistic. And also my fear is people are so busy and we're on information overload, and you wonder where that's all come from, and the peace and tranquility and calm that we had in earlier decades, and in, perhaps even in the Victorian times, when people used to embroider and paint. When I've painted even the shed in the back garden, I've come in and I've seen my dog in spirit in the kitchen, and I've thought it just puts you in a meditative, different frame of mind.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Anyway, we need to draw this show to an end, and this will be continued. Thank you very much, and good luck with everyone's mediumistic developments.